ever feel like we're living in the future? Medical breakthroughs happening all the time? It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It really is. And a lot of that is thanks to clinical trials,
Yeah.
the research that goes into testing new treatments.
Right, right. But we rarely hear about the nitty-gritty of these trials, like the financial side of things.
And that can be a whole other story, can it?
It sure can. So today we're diving into how something as seemingly basic as invoicing can actually have a huge impact on these complex projects. We're talking about streamlining the whole process, making it more efficient so we can get those life-saving treatments out there faster.
It's about time we had this conversation, right?
Right. Now, anyone who's followed clinical trials knows how much emphasis there is on meticulous research and development.
Absolutely. It's all about precision and scientific rigor.
Mm.
But, you know,
What?
sometimes the administrative and financial side, they don't always get the same level of attention, which is strange because it can really make or break a trial.
That's such a good point. It's like building a car, focusing only on the engine and forgetting about the wheels.
Exactly. You need all the parts working together.
And that's where this whole idea of smarter invoicing comes in, right? I was reading this report from the Global Costing Task Force, and it really got me thinking.
Oh, yeah, they've been doing some fascinating work in this area. What were you thinking about?
Well, they talk about this collaborative approach to invoicing, and honestly, it's kind of brilliant in its simplicity.
Tell me more.
So, picture this. Instead of the research sites sending out a flurry of invoices for every little thing, lab tests, patient visits, you name it, they consolidate it.
You bundle it?
Yeah, they bundle it all together and invoice the sponsors at specific milestones in the trial, or maybe on a regular schedule, like monthly.
So everyone's on the same page from the get-go. No surprises, no scrambling to figure out who owes what and when.
Exactly. And the task force, they call this finding the invoicing groove. And it really resonated with me because it's about finding that rhythm, that flow that keeps the whole project moving smoothly.
It's like a well-choreographed dance, isn't it? Instead of everyone stepping on each other's toes, there's coordination.
That's a great analogy. But how does this actually work in a real-world setting? Can you walk me through it?
Of course. Let's say a trial is testing a new drug for, say, diabetes. Instead of sending an invoice for every single blood glucose test and consultation, they group those costs and invoice maybe every 3 months, or when they reach a certain number of patients enrolled in the study.
It makes sense. It's like hitting those milestones you were talking about.
Right. And this way, the research site knows when to expect payment, the sponsor has a clear overview of the expenses, and the finance teams on both sides can streamline their processes.
And fewer invoices probably means less room for errors too, right?
Absolutely. It reduces administrative burden, and that means fewer headaches for everyone involved.
Now, I imagine some people might be thinking, okay, this sounds great in theory, but
But does it actually work in practice?
exactly. What's the evidence saying?
Well, studies have shown that this type of collaborative invoicing can lead to significant time and cost savings. And we're not just talking about a small difference here. We're talking about freeing up resources that can then be directed towards, the actual research itself.
That's huge.
It is. And beyond the financial benefits, it also fosters a sense of trust and transparency between the sites and the sponsors.
Because they're working together, right, from the very beginning, instead of constantly negotiating invoices and payment terms.
Precisely. It becomes a partnership, a shared understanding.
It's almost like this shift in mindset, isn't it? Moving from a transactional relationship to one built on collaboration and shared goals.
Exactly. And that shift, it can be really powerful.
I'd imagine it. Now, I can't help but wonder if this kind of proactive planning around something as specific as invoicing can have such a positive impact. What other areas in the clinical trial process could benefit from this kind of approach?
That's a fantastic question. And, I think the answer is probably a lot of them.
Yeah. It makes you rethink how we approach these complex projects, doesn't it? Maybe a little bit of that invoicing groove could go a long way in other areas too.
Absolutely. Finding those areas where collaboration and communication can streamline things.
It's definitely something to think about.